So y'all, the only thing I really want to talk about in regards to this Shannon Sharpe situation is the lessons. The lessons that we can glean from it. Okay. And I thought of a few. The first one is, whatever you don't deal with while you're under grace will eventually derail your life. Whatever you don't deal with while you're under grace will eventually derail your life. And when I say grace, I mean there is an issue that you have. There's a character flaw that you have. And there's a certain amount of covering that happens, meaning that you're still able to flourish in life. You're still able to, you have your blessings and all of this kind of stuff, okay? Even though you have this particular issue, that's grace. In spite of that issue, you are able to still thrive in life. You're able to still progress and move forward and produce and be successful and all of that. But you still have this issue that you're very aware of, or at least you should be. Okay? If you don't deal with it while you're under grace, grace keeps it in the background. Grace allows you not to be exposed. Okay? Once that grace is lifted, because grace does have a limitation, okay? Because the limitations is attached to you reap what you sow, certain universal laws. It's just a universal law. You don't have to believe it. It's just like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity. Gravity just is. You reap what you sow, and that is good and bad. There's cause and effect, universal laws. There is a effect for every cause. There's a cause for every effect. If you don't deal with the junk, the issues, it will eventually derail your life. Some examples with the Shannon Sharpe situation. Apparently, he's had some type of anger issue for years, decades, going back to the 90s, where there's accounts or, police being called, or there were allegations, or that going back to the 90s of putting hands on people, of choking folk out, of forcing things. This is not the first time that he's been accused of these things. And I take no joy in even looking at the life lessons in this, because I actually like the brother. I like his work. Okay. I was all, like to see someone that was down to earth, just a big old country boy that's being successful. I love to see especially professional athletes go on and continue to be successful post their professional careers, because so many of them struggle after their sports career, their professional career. So I love to see a Shannon Sharpe be extremely successful after his football career. So I don't take any joy in this. But clearly, from what has been exposed, this is not the first time he's been sued. This is not the first time he's been accused of these same type of things. So that tells us there's been a lot of grace in his life for decades. I look at someone like an R. Kelly, super talented, ultra gifted, was accused, brought up on charges before, whenever that was, early 2000s, whenever that was, that he had to go to court. He was on trial and he got off. You would think behaviors would change then, but clearly they did not. And everybody can't be lying, okay? Come on, let's not even have that argument. And now his whole life ruined. Thank God he's still got breath in his body. It's still another day, but bruh, man is locked up. If you don't deal with those things, those issues, those character, those major, and we all have issues. Don't get me wrong. We all have issues. But if you know you have certain things that, here's the key, it's behaviors that you do not want anyone to know about. You don't want the public to know about it. You don't want your family to know that you're participating in certain things. You don't want people to know. Those are the things I'm talking about. Those are the things that you need to deal with while they're still behind closed doors in the dark, dusty corner of your soul. Because guaranteed, eventually, that dust is going to be dusted away and it's going to be exposed. The light is going to shine into that dark, dusty corner and it will be exposed. And a lot of times you get in a position of success, and it's all different levels. Let's say, for instance, you have an issue being okay. Say, for instance, you have an image, you have you're a man or woman of God. Okay. This is what everyone knows you for. You're just a good guy, you're a good woman. But you know that you got some deviant behavior going on back behind the scenes. You know that you are, sleeping around, but you make sure you do it in a certain circle, that you ain't doing it over here that people would know it. You're doing it out here. Okay. You're doing it out here. And to the point where you got this, it's like a stronghold in your life. Now you meet someone who is attracted to the image of you, not the real you, not the other part that nobody knows about, but the image of you. And this person, you actually want them because it's somebody that you would actually want to be with. But see, you still got the real you that's over here that nobody knows about. Those are the things that you must deal with before you get in a position. Now there's something to lose. This relationship, this, a partnership, this, whatever it is. In this case, Shannon Sharpe had multi-million-dollar deals on the table. Contracts coming due. Ending and needing a new one. Multi-million-dollar jobs on the like he is now no longer on the job. From what ESPN, that's no longer at this point as of today, from what I understand. All because whatever this thing is that he did not want to come out, all because of this. Unresolved issues, character flaws. Whether it's the forcing, whether it's the choking out, whether it's just the violence, whatever it is. Okay. Next thing, there is no privacy. That's the next lesson. There is no privacy. Whatever you do behind closed doors, you better be consistent in terms of the type of person that you are. If there are things that you know about yourself, that you, maybe conversations, what the things you're into. Don't get me wrong. We all have, like, I'm a private person, but I don't have like, different lives going on here. Okay. People that know me, they know me as an authentic person. Okay. But with all of us walking around here with, these recording devices, i.e. these phones, anybody can be recording anything at any time. So when you're talking on the phone to people, or you're, FaceTiming people, or you're, in people's DMs or inboxing and all that kind of stuff, there is no privacy. We already know that the big brother is already listening to all our stuff through these devices anyway. So that's one layer, but also in our interpersonal communications with others, whether we know them or not, please understand there's no privacy. That's why you also need to be choosy about who you allow in your world, who you open that door to, and the type of interactions that you're having with that person. You would hope that there are people that you can sincerely trust. Unfortunately, there's even family members that turn on their family member for $1 or $1, or just simply because they're pissed off or jealous. Like, there's so much that happens, okay? And that doesn't mean to walk around paranoid or anything like that, but just understand the possibilities. There is no privacy. So these text messages, these phone calls, all of that stuff, these videos and pictures, okay? That's why if someone asks me for a picture, it's an immediate no. Number one, I don't get down like that. I'm not married. And even for you married people, be very careful about the videos, the pictures, the freaky stuff that you do, that you're sending via these phones. Because even if your spouse is not on some bull, don't get mad at you and expose some stuff, or y'all break up and they expose some stuff. They don't even have to do that. Sometimes it's someone else taps in and they get access to something that was only meant for your spouse, your significant other. Be very careful about these recordings and these pictures, especially if you're in a state that you wouldn't want exploited or shared with the public. There is no privacy. Remember that, okay? Next thing, those who are seemingly beneath you can take down giants. Whether it's beneath you, whether it's just beneath in society, beneath. Look at this young lady, okay? Super young enough to be, if we did the numbers, probably young enough to be a granddaughter, not just a daughter, okay? Vulnerable. She's not a celebrity. She's not in the. Now, I don't know who this woman is. From what I understand, she has OnlyFans and all this stuff, but she's not on the caliber of a Shannon Sharpe. That's my point. She's not on the caliber. She's not a mainstream, well-known celebrity person and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So she's someone who you would think, because of her age and her position, that, oh, you know, some people think that, oh, she ain't gonna be able to do nothing with me. I have the money, I have the power. Giants fall. Giants fall. Even if it's an intern with the president. Come on, Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Now, she may not have done anything directly except for get involved with someone who was married and the president, but married. Everyone knew that, and she did too. Okay? But look at the tarnish that is on on his legacy. I don't care what you say, how much you may like Bill Clinton. The reality is, when you talk about his life, his presidency, his legacy, that is a part of it. It's a stain and a stench. You can go down the line. The easiest thing to be disciplined on is your physical health and your financial health. They are easy compared to your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your sexual health. It is difficult. It is more difficult, more challenging to be disciplined in your emotions, in your spiritual walk, and in your sexuality, in your sexual life. Those are the things that are more difficult than, okay, yeah, it may be, you know, going to the gym and, you know, putting good things into our bodies and all that stuff. That takes a certain amount of discipline. Being good with your finances, knowing how to make money and manage money, all of those things, it takes a certain amount of discipline. But what is more difficult than that is having emotional discipline. Do you go off the rails? Do you have a violent streak? Do you blow your lid? Blow your top when someone angers you or offends you? Are you emotionally disciplined, or do you manipulate with your emotions? Are you spiritually disciplined? Do you have faith? Do you submit yourself to God? Do you even believe in God? And if you do believe in God, and when I say God, I'm talking about Christ. I'm a Jesus girl all day. So that's who I'm talking about. Are you submitted? Do you believe that there is someone that is higher and bigger and badder than you that can check you, boo? Okay, that your very breath is in his hands. Do you believe that? And therefore govern your life accordingly. Sexual discipline. Are you slanging it all from wherever would take it? Is that where you, or even in this case, the accusation is forcibly. Forcibly. The lack of sexual discipline will actually have somebody that is in their 50s dealing with someone who is darn near a teenager. That speaks to a lack of sexual discipline. To use a churchy scripture word, is lust. It's lust. Or else what can this person do except for the sexual part? Which means you don't have sexual discipline. Yeah. Those are the more challenging. It takes a strong person to have emotional discipline, to have spiritual discipline, and to have sexual discipline. It's easy to go to the gym and to eat right. And it's easy to manage your finances and know how to make money and manage money compared to emotional, spiritual, and sexual discipline. These are the lessons. These are the lessons from the Shannon Sharpe situation. Okay. And the last one that I'll say, and this is for all of us, again, do not uphold bad character. Don't uphold bad character. If you're around someone, all of these people that we are, these celebrities that are getting the whistles blown on and they're getting, they're imploding from inside their camp. And then, now you have people coming out. I saw this. I saw this with the Sean Combs case. It's like everybody coming out now. They want to have these interviews. They want to talk about all the things they've seen over the years. They're talking about all of the stuff. What were you doing when the stuff was going on? Upholding the crap, upholding the foolishness, upholding the violence, upholding the deviant behavior. Because you were either participating in it or you didn't want to be kicked out the club, the crew. You didn't want your lifestyle to change. You didn't want to be on the outs with that person. Here's the other thing. We need to stop upholding bad behavior from those who are gifted and talented. You can go back to school. Let's think back to high school. You have the star athletes who, some of them, all they did well was play the game. And because they played the game well, they were allowed to do things that other students couldn't get away with. They were allowed to, skip class. They were allowed to not, and this is not everyone, okay? This is an example, okay? They were allowed to not excel and to let someone else take up the slack for them. They were allowed to not do their homework and still pass the class. They were allowed to cheat. They were allowed to, they were given things. And it's because they were gifted and talented. They were popular. People wanted to ride that. They wanted to be in good with that. They wanted to help them. But really, you're not helping. You're setting them up for failure later in life. This same individual, they go on to college, they get a scholarship, and now the stakes are even higher, okay? They're still talented and gifted, right? So now, though, college ain't high school. So either they fail, now the dream is over with, or they have more enablers that are helping them now in college do the same thing that others were helping them with in high school. They're taking the classes for them. They're giving them the answers. They're writing the papers for them. They're still allowing them to get away with things. When they do something wrong, they get into a fight with someone, they put their hands on their girlfriend, they cover it up. They cover it up because they're gifted. They're talented. We need them. We want something from them. Let's keep them. And so then they graduate with a degree they didn't earn. And they go on to the pros because they are gifted. They're talented. And now the cycle continues. Now you see about these professional athletes that's constantly getting in trouble with the law. Now it's even worse because now they have millions of dollars to continue to build on this bad character. Now they have resources on top of the bad character, which is a recipe for disaster. But for a while, they continue to get away with bad behavior, bad character. They continue to be upheld by others, enabling them. Until finally, you have a Shannon Sharpe. You have a Sean Combs. You have a Harvey Weinstein. You have a Jonathan Majors. You have a Bill Cosby. And listen, I am not arguing whether these people actually did exactly what they were accused of doing, but they did do something because part of it was true. You were involved. Bill Cosby, you did sleep with these women that were not your wife, whether it was consensual or not. Bad character. And somebody was allowing the junk to go unchecked for decades. This is how it goes. If it were you, if it were me, the same rules apply. There are universal principles. You reap what you sow. That is good and bad. Cause and effect. There is an effect for every cause. There's a cause for every effect. Eventually, that chicken will come home to roost. We all have to know that when we're looking at our own lives. Here's the lesson. Here's the lessons from Shannon Sharpe's situation. Do not wait until you are at a position where you have so much at stake. And it doesn't have to be in the celebrity eye, where it's for the whole world to see. It could be just within your own family. You have a violence issue. You have a temper problem. Your mouth is foul. And nobody knows it but the people in your household, because at your church, they don't know it. At your job, they don't know it. And then one day, that person in your household gets tired of it. Or one day you go too far and now the police is called. Or somebody records you. And now that junk has been blasted on social media. There's actually pages now. There's this guy, I've been looking at him on TikTok or whatever. Literally, people send him videos of people doing the most egregious things to other people, whether it's racist things, whether it's, sexist things, whether it's homophobic things, whatever the stuff is. People literally out here just in these streets behaving badly, and someone has recorded them, and they will send that video to this man who has a huge platform, and he'll get on there and show the video, and he says, please tell me who this is, and he will blast that person. See, this is the type of counseling that's a good counseling. See, even though you're a regular Joe Schmo, if you out here in these streets acting a fool, treating people badly, having bad character, you too, ma'am, you too, sir, will eventually get it. And that includes if it's me. The sun is going down. Yeah, let's pray for everyone involved. But beyond that, let's make sure that we take the lessons for our own lives. See, this is not about gossip. This is not about looking and pointing the fingers at other people. Look at yourself as I look at myself. Be authentic. Deal with your issues while you're under grace, while you have the opportunity to deal with them before it causes damage to a level that you can't come back from.